Therapy is going to continue feeling like an absolute failure if you keep engaging in these behaviors and in these patterns. The decision to go to therapy is not a light decision. I mean, I've done over, what's the number at this point? I've done over 7,000 therapy sessions at this point. As of yesterday, it was 7,136 over the span of about 6-7 years. And every time someone makes the decision, I do everything that I can to celebrate them, because it's not an easy decision. It's something that scares the living hell out of most people, to be honest. And the really unfortunate thing in that is that the amount of people that end up coming to therapy, there's really only a small proportion of them that ever actually get good outcomes from it, that ever actually leave therapy feeling as though they got what they were looking for, they got what they wanted, where they feel as though they got benefit out of it. And that's so sad, and that's such a waste. Not only a waste of like time and money on your part, being the person going to therapy, but it's a waste feeling like nothing is ever going to change. When you have an experience like that, when you go to therapy and you don't get the outcome that you want, you don't have the experience that you want, it leads you to believe that you're wasting your time. You wasted hope. You wasted this chance. And what people typically end up doing when they go through something like that is they just never go back. It's really tragic. And I know someone watching this might be like, okay, you're being a little overdramatic. Maybe, but not really. Because there's so many people that could benefit from going to therapy, that could benefit and that would benefit if they actually had a good experience of it. But the thing is, they might never get the chance. They might never get the chance to feel good about themselves. They might never get the chance to heal the relationship that they have with themselves, with others, to feel as though they're loved and deserving of love, to feel as though they're good enough. And that is tragic. It's tragic to go through life not getting to have the full experience of it. And so what I want to walk you through today are 3 of the biggest things that are making therapy not work for you. And these might feel like call-outs. And that's okay. We can do hard things here. Number 1, this is a huge one that a lot of people experience. They believe that the therapist is just supposed to do all of the work. Now, that obviously seems ridiculous, right? It's like, well, obviously I have to take a part in it. Yes, but a lot of people come into therapy and they just sit there quietly. It's kind of like they think it's going to be like a doctor's appointment where you go, you rattle off a couple of answers, the doctor is asking you questions, and then they shoot out a diagnosis, they give you a treatment plan, and then you're out the door in 15 minutes. That is not therapy, and that is not good therapy by any stretch of the imagination. If you want to have a good experience of therapy, and if you want it to not feel like a waste, there has to be a mutual relationship there that's happening. It has to be collaborative. You and the therapist are there to work together as a team to make sure that you're getting the outcomes that you want. But this ties into number 2. A lot of people struggle so much actually feeling their emotions, actually being able to process the things that have happened to them, and actually feeling as though they're capable of going there. Now, what I've seen too is a lot of people have a relatively higher level of emotional intelligence, meaning they know what they're thinking and they know what they're feeling, but they can't go any deeper than that. It's like, okay, yeah, I know I'm sad. I know I'm angry. But like, that's it. You can't go any deeper than that, because to actually sit there and feel that, to actually sit there and remember what it was like on that day when that terrible thing happened to you and you felt like you were going to collapse and it felt as though nothing was ever going to change for you and your life was going to be this way forever. We've all had that moment. But what would it be like to actually remember that moment? What would it be like to sit in that moment again? It feels unbearable. So what a lot of people will end up doing is they'll just think and logic their way out of these situations. Well, I know I am sad. I know I feel this. It's like, that's like the first layer. that's like, it's like, okay, you can read the instructions of a recipe, but step 2 is actually like gathering everything together and putting them together to make something out of it. So number 1, there's this experience of, well, the therapist is just going to do all the work. They're just going to guide me. They're just going to give me everything. They're just going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to leave and it's going to be great. No. And then number 2, what ends up happening is you're struggling so much to go past that second layer. And a lot of the reasons why that happens is actually because of number 3. What I've seen far too many times is that people come into therapy with a certain expectation of what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to be, the problems that they are okay diving into, and what they're never going to go near with a 1,000-foot pole. Brené Brown has a really beautiful story about this. So she was talking about when she first went to therapy. It was after this like massive breakdown that she had, and she went into therapy, and she's a researcher and she's a social worker. So she came in with this like 15 bulleted point of all of the things that she wanted to work on. She's like, I'm not doing any inner child bullshit. I'm not doing any, family stuff. I'm not doing that. Here's all the things I need to work on. Here's the time frame in which I need to work on them. Let's go. And if you've seen her TED Talk, it was masterful. This is where she told this story. And she's like, the therapist just kind of sat there and looked at her with like this stunned look on her face. And Brené goes, is that bad? And the therapist goes, it's neither good nor bad, Brené. It just is what it is. And Brené was like, you gotta be freaking shitting me. But she ended up staying in the therapy. The therapist actually helped her, and it ended up taking like a couple of years. And she said, having those very rigid expectations, having these very rigid ideas of, I'm only gonna do this, I'm only gonna do that, I'm not gonna go past this certain level, it almost stopped her from getting the real healing and the real growth that she could have had, because the more sinister thing is she thought she shouldn't have to. She thought she shouldn't have to. And you might be watching this and you're like, I don't think that. You might. Is there any part of you that feels like you shouldn't have to have gone through what you went through? You shouldn't have to be dealing with this. You shouldn't have to feel the things that you do. You shouldn't have to work on this. If you do, it's limiting you from actually being able to work on it. Now, that's not to say that terrible things shouldn't have happened to you, but a lot of us have this idea that, well, I didn't do it, so I shouldn't have to be the one to work on it. I shouldn't have to have this diagnosis. I shouldn't have to feel this way. Yeah, but you do. there's a part of you that doesn't want to admit it. There's a part of you that doesn't want to go there. So you come to therapy expecting the therapist to do all the work. You only go to a very, very certain extent, a very certain baseline level. And then you never actually get the experience that you need of the therapy because you feel as though you shouldn't have to. You don't want to work on those things. You don't want to have to dive into this. And it's costing you. It's costing you the happiness that you could have, the experiences that you could experience, the love that you could have, the sense of accomplishment and growth and success and fulfillment, the things that make it worth it to be alive. But you're not letting yourself have that because you don't believe you should have to. You shouldn't have to put the work in. Other people get it. Why can't I? Why do I have to go to therapy and work on this stuff? That exact mentality is why you'll never get it. Therapy is the most wonderful experience you can ever do if you give yourself permission to engage in it fully. And I'm speaking from experience. I've been in therapy since I was 16, and I am a therapist. So I get to see it from both sides. It is transformational. It is healing. You can evolve. But only if you're actually willing. If you are actually ready to do the work to make it happen. So here's what I want you to do today. Take out your journal, take out your notebook, and really ask yourself the question. Ask yourself these 3 questions, actually. Number 1, what have my expectations of therapy been? What did I believe it was going to look like? What were my unconscious expectations of the therapist or what this experience should be? Number 2, have I actually let myself dive deep in to what's really going on with me? Or have I maybe had a lot of protectors come up that don't let me go there because they don't want to go there? And number 3, are there any limiting beliefs that I have that are telling me that I shouldn't have to? That if I was better, I wouldn't need to? Or I'm only okay talking about this one specific thing? If so, why? What made that feel true for you? I guarantee if you give yourself the chance to answer those questions and really work on it, maybe even do it with your therapist, you'll get to see what therapy really could be and how much better your life will be as a result. And if this is something that you're interested in, if you want help answering these questions, if this maybe feels too daunting, reach out, put a comment down below, send me a DM. I'd be more than happy to walk you through this. Don't let your limiting beliefs get in the way of having the life that you want to have. I lived that way for far too long, and I'm still climbing out of it. If I can save you time and unnecessary suffering, I hope that I can, and I would love to try. So send me a DM, drop a comment down below, try the homework, and see what it does for you.